Morning and welcome to today's power yoga practice. As always with these classes, if you have any injuries or anything in particular that you're working with, please be aware of that and move out of anything that feels uncomfortable or not quite right. Otherwise, let's get started. We're going to start today in a child's pose. So big toes to touch, knees nice and wide, and just let your forehead rest down on the mat. Taking a few moments of stillness to just settle down into your practice, into this pose. Taking a few really deep breaths, maybe even in through the nose and then out through the mouth. And then start to engage your ujjayi breath, so in and out through the nose, making that audible sound at the back of the throat. Notice how deep and how long you can make each breath. And really trying to focus your whole mind on just breathing in and out. On your next inhale, lift up onto all fours. And we'll take a few rounds of cat and cow. So as you inhale, you drop the stomach, arch the back, bring the gaze up. Exhale as you round the spine, tuck the chin towards the chest, press the earth away. Inhale as you arch, open up. And exhale to round. Keep moving like this to the speed of your own breath. And feel free to add in any other twist or turn here, any sort of figure of eight movement, just feeling your way into your spine, your shoulders, maybe your hips a little bit. But as you move like this, checking in with the hands, so spread the fingers wide on the mat. Press down with each fingertip, each knuckle pad. Bring yourself to stillness with a flat back. And reach your right arm up towards the ceiling, open up through the chest. And then thread that arm through, come down onto the right shoulder, the right cheek. Walk your left fingertips forwards. Try and keep your hips stacked on top of your knees here. And maintain that same ujjayi breath that we just found at the beginning of the class. Make your way back through center. And we'll go on the other side. So lifting that left arm up, open up. And then thread that arm through, come down onto your left shoulder, your left cheek. Walking those right fingertips forwards this time. And nice and slowly coming back to center. And we're going to take a toe stand from here. So tucking the toes under and then sit back onto your heels. So if you need to here, you might want to sort of shuffle your toes under. My baby toe doesn't really like to get involved, so give it a try. If this is super intense straight away, you might want to place a cushion or something in between your heels and your seat bones. We're going to stay here for about 1 more minute. So really focusing on your breath, maybe even close down the eyes here. It might help you to focus and think about inhaling a lightness in your upper body. And as you exhale, you release any tension, let go of anything. Try not to let the tension spread from your feet to anywhere else in your body, so keeping the shoulders, the face nice and relaxed. And what we're doing here is we're starting to release some of the fascia that builds up in the soles of the feet, somewhere that we don't often get to stretch that much. And that fascia tissue is connected all the way up the back line of the body. So if you're a little bit tighter in the hamstrings, you're going to feel this one more. Staying with it, last few breaths. Keep that long, steady Ujjayi breath powering you through here. And releasing, come back onto hands and knees, untuck the toes, and give the tops of the feet a little tap on the mat. So almost like a drum roll. It might also feel nice to rotate the ankles a couple of times. Just noticing how the feet are feeling. Take a big breath in through the nose and sigh it out the mouth. Staying with your tabletop, tuck the toes back under and lift your knees just 2 inches off the floor. Pull the tummy button in and up. And think about the upper back, the sort of space in between the shoulders rounding up towards the ceiling. Really pressing down with the index finger knuckle pad here. And make sure the thumb isn't lifting. Drop the knees back down. Take a breath. And we're going to do that again. So when you're ready, lifting back up, knees 2 inches off the floor. Starting to build that heat, that tapas in the body straight away. Drop your knees back down. Take an inhale through the nose. Exhale, downward facing dog. So lifting the hips up nice and high. Maybe pedal out the feet a little bit, bending one knee at a time. Really think about tilting the tailbone up towards the ceiling and allow yourself to just move here in any way that feels good, just feeling your way into the pose. Nice and slowly roll yourself forwards to a high plank. Pausing here. Again, awareness on that part of the back at the top, in between the shoulder blades, pressing it up towards the ceiling. The core muscles are pulled in and up, and then legs are also switched on. Push back, downward facing dog. Notice if you want to move your hands and feet in between these poses and try and keep them in one spot for both high plank and down dog. Let's do that once more. Slowly, slowly roll yourself forwards to a high plank. Think about what we're engaging here. And often in our yoga practice, it's actually the same sort of engagement in every pose we take. Not letting the hips sink, keep pressing them up. And downward facing dog. Lift right up onto your tippy toes and take tiny footsteps all the way to behind your waist. You can bend your knees as much as you need to and really take your time with this transition. Once you get to the top of your mat, grab opposite hand to opposite elbow, coming into your ragdoll. You can have the feet hip width apart, maybe even mat width apart to start with today. And you can have quite a bend in the knees, really letting the upper body feel heavy, letting it melt down towards the floor. Release your hands. Heel toe your feet together back to at least hip width, maybe a little bit closer, but not mat width apart anymore. On an inhale, roll yourself all the way up to standing, reach your arms up overhead, take a full body stretch. If you're ready for a small back bend, go ahead, open the chest. Exhale, fold forwards. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, step it back into a high plank. We've already been here today, so you know what you're doing. Make sure the fingers are spread wide. Think about reaching the chest forwards and at the same time reaching the heels back, so you're stretching the whole body out. Drop your knees, untuck your toes, bend your elbows, come all the way down. Open your chest, baby cobra, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Press the tops of the feet into the floor. Come back through your knees, seat bones to heels, straighten the legs downward facing dog. So always taking a moment in your down dog to just check back in with what's going on. Full breath in. And as you exhale, walk, step, or float to your hands. Halfway lift. Fold. Inhale, we rise, tall, reach up. Exhale to fold forwards. Lift halfway. Step back, high plank. Options this time to drop your knees, come all the way down as we just did, or keep the body lifted, bend the elbows. Either another cobra or up dog, open the chest. Downward facing dog. So from now on, every time we take a vinyasa, you choose which variation you take. Big breath in through the nose. As you exhale, soften knees, gaze forwards, walk, step or float to your hands. Halfway lift. Fold. Inhale, rise tall. Exhale, we bow forwards. Halfway lift. Crown of the head reaches forwards. Exhale, high to low plank, but dropping the knees if you prefer. Inhale, upward facing dog, squeeze the armpits. Exhale, downward facing dog. Just slowly starting to warm our bodies up, dropping into our yoga practice, letting go of any thoughts, any other thoughts that might be in the mind. Full breath in. Exhale it all out, soften knees. This time, lightly jump to your hands. Lift halfway. Fold. Bring your big toes to touch for a chair pose. Bend your knees, reach your arms up. Press the heels down, so much that you can lift your 10 toes. Try not to stick your bum out here. Have a gentle tuck of the tailbone. You're not really tucking it, but you want a neutral pelvis. Big breath in. Exhale, fold. Lift halfway. High to low plank. Not rushing through your vinyasa, using up the whole of the breath. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Step your right foot forwards, warrior one. Inhale, we rise up. Just taking about 2 breaths here to settle into the pose. Notice what's going on for you today. Really ground down with the outer edge of that back foot. And then see if you can turn your chest forwards a little bit more. One more inhale. And as you exhale, hands to mat, high to low plank. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Step your left foot forwards, warrior one. Inhale as you rise up. But again, take your time here. If you need to change anything in this warrior today, go ahead and take that time to do it. Try not to be clinging onto the mat with the toes here, rather the 4 corners of each feet. Big breath in. Exhale, high to low plank. Up dog. Down dog. Soften knees, gaze forwards as lightly, as quietly as you can. Just float to your hands. Lift halfway. Fold. Inhale, we rise. Exhale, hands together at heart center. Notice if you're on autopilot. Big toes to touch, bend your knees, chair pose. Fold forwards. Lift halfway. High to low plank. Upward facing. Downward facing. Right foot forwards, warrior one. Inhale, you rise tall. Exhale, low plank. Moving with your breath now. Up dog. Downward facing dog. Left foot forwards, warrior one. Press both feet down and then rise up. Exhale, low plank. Upward facing. Downward facing. Notice what's happening to your breath. Know that if you're a little bit newer to the practice and downward facing dog isn't a comfortable place for you to be, that you can drop into your child's pose at any point. One more big breath in. And as you exhale, feet to hands. Lift halfway. Fold. Inhale, rise up, reach tall. Exhale, hands together at heart center. Make sure your big toes are touching. Bend your knees, chair pose. Fold. Halfway lift. Listen carefully. We're going to go high to low plank and hold your low plank for 3, for 2, for 1, upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Right foot forwards, warrior 1. Exhale, high to low plank. We're holding the low plank again. You can drop your knees if you need to. For 3, for 2, for 1, up dog. Down dog. Left foot forwards, warrior 1, rise tall. Exhale, low plank. You're holding it. Feel free to drop the knees if you need to. For 3. Keep breathing for 2. For 1, upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Take a few deep breaths here, maybe even a sigh if you need to. Bring your feet together to touch. Lift your right leg up. Bend your right knee, open up your hips. Try not to bend through the shoulders here, so keep the shoulders square to the top of the mat. Pressing down and forwards equally with both hands. Straighten that leg back out behind you, as if you were kicking into a wall right behind that right foot. And then bring your knee to your nose. Kick it back. Bring your knees to your right armpit today. So normally we go right elbow, but see if you can lift it all the way up to that armpit. Hold it here. Kick it back. Let's go right knee, left armpit. So really lifting through the hips, pressing the earth away. Kick it back. Knee to nose. Step that foot in between your hands. Rise up to your crescent lunge. If you feel wobbly or shaky, don't worry about it. Maybe walk your right foot further towards the right. And then see if you can sink into this one a bit more. Maybe walk your left foot back slightly. Hands together at heart center. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, we twist towards the right. Press the elbow and thigh together to help rotate the chest open a little bit more. Choose if you keep pressing hands into each other. Maybe you open your arms. Maybe you go for a bind. See what that feels like. Notice how your ujjayi breath feels as you twist. On your next inhale, come back to center, crescent lunge. Keeping that front knee bent, open out to your warrior 2. Check in with the front knee. Try and bend it towards the baby toe, not the big toe. Flip your front palm and reverse. Extended side angle, right forearm to right thigh, left arm up. Don't forget about the back foot, really pressing that back foot down. Choose if you stay here, or maybe you drop your right hand down towards the floor or a block. Keep awareness on that right knee. Don't let it start bending in. Maybe you go for a half bind, wrapping the left hand around that right thigh. Maybe you go for a full bind. Keep pressing the back foot down. If you are bound, gently let go. Everyone, make your way back into a warrior 2. Straighten the front leg. Reach forwards, we're coming straight into our triangle pose. So this time both legs are straight. If the right leg feels really tight, that hamstring, you can keep a micro bend in that knee. Think about that same awareness of the back leg. You're pressing the back leg actively down. Right hand can be resting on the thigh, on the calf, on the floor. You can even hold on to the calf, but try not to sink into it. Maybe gaze lifts. On your next inhale, rising all the way back up. Swivel both feet so they're facing the left side of your mat. And your toes are slightly pigeon-toed, so toes are slightly pointing in, hands come to hips. Inhale, open the chest. Exhale, folding forwards. Release your hands either down to the floor or maybe to your shins if that's more comfortable. And you're reaching the crown of the head towards the floor. Relax the muscles in your face. And again, if the hamstrings feel really tight here, feel free to take a little bend in the knee. From here, we're going to come into Skandasana at the back of the mat. So start to bend through that left knee. Lift the right toes up. Options to keep the hands on the floor or bring them together at heart center. Keep breathing here. This left heel can be lifted or it can be on the floor. Depends on what's going on for you today. We're going to move to Skandasana to the top of the mat. Keep the hips as low as you can as you make your way to the top of the mat. Breathing here. We're going to transition, swivel our way all the way back into our crescent lunge. Big breath in. Exhale, high to low plank. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Big toes to touch. Let's do that on the left side. So lift your left leg up. Bend your left knee, open up the hips. See how close you can bring that left heel towards your seat bones. Think about the shoulders and the hands pressing down and forwards. Lift that left knee a little bit higher. Straighten that leg back out behind you. And bring your knee to your nose. Kick it back. Bring your left knee to your left armpit. So really pressing the earth away, keeping the hips nice and high. Keep breathing. Kick that leg back up. We're going to go left knee, right armpit. Keep breathing. Kick it back. Knee to nose. Crescent lunge. Step that foot in between the hands. Keep the back heel lifted. Rise up tall. Again, taking a moment here. If you feel wobbly, don't worry. You can walk that left foot further out. Finding a position where you feel quite stable here. Maybe see if you can lift your back heel a little bit higher. Hands together at heart center. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, we're twisting towards the left this time. So try not to dump your torso on that thigh. You're light in the upper body. Keep the back leg strong, reaching the back of that right knee towards the ceiling. Choose if you keep palms pressing in, open up the arms. Maybe you go for a bind, see what happens. Don't be surprised if it worked on one side and it doesn't work on the other side. On your next inhale, with control, lift yourself back into a crescent lunge. Warrior two. Settle into your warrior two and then keep the bend in the front knee as you flip your front palm in reverse. Extended side angle, left forearm, left thigh, right fingertips lift up. You can choose if you stay with your forearm on your thigh or maybe drop your left hand down towards the floor. But again, you're not dumping down, so you're light in those fingertips or the palm, wherever you are. Maybe you want to go for a half bind, wrapping the right hand around that left thigh. Maybe you go for a full bind. But if you're going for a bind, try not to have your hands sort of down here. You want them right up at the thigh. Keep opening the chest towards the ceiling. If you are bound, gently let go. And everyone lifting back up to your warrior two. Straighten your front leg. Reach forwards, tilting down to your triangle. Again, choose where that left hand feels good. Maybe it's lower down, maybe it's higher up. But what we're aiming for is length through the spine rather than a sort of rounding of the spine. Imagine someone lifting out of the right fingertips. On an inhale, rise back up. Swivel both feet to the right side of your mat this time. I'm going to turn around so you can see me. Slightly pigeon toe the toes again. Interlace your fingers at your sacrum this time. Again, open the chest on an inhale. Exhale, come down, down, down. Reaching the hands towards that right side of your mat. Feeling a stretch of the shoulders. Think about pressing down into the floor with the outer edges of both feet. Let go of the hands. And we're going to do that same thing. So maybe you bring your hands to the floor in front of you if you need that balance. But we're going to take Skandasana to the back of the mat. So start to bend that right knee. Lift the left toes. This heel can be lifted or it can be grounded. Now keeping the hips as low as you can. Maybe you try it without your hands this time. Keep your body low as you come all the way Skandasana to the top of your mat. Nice. We're going to transition into our crescent lunge. Maybe you try it without the hands as you spin all the way back up. Big breath in. Exhale, take a vinyasa, skip it out, meet in a down dog, whatever works for you here. Maybe a child's pose for a few breaths. And let's take a big sigh in through the nose and out through the mouth. We're going to go through that once more, a little bit faster. I'm going to add in a little bit more. So bring your big toes together to touch. Lift that right leg up. Bend your knee, open up the hips. Straighten that leg back out behind you. Bring your knee to your nose. Inhale, you reach back up. Exhale, right knee, right armpit. Inhale, kick back. Exhale, right knee, left armpit. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, you step that foot all the way in between your hands. Take your time. And as you start to inhale, you rise up. Crescent lunge. Hands together. Find length through the spine. And then we twist. Left elbow comes over that right thigh. We're not going to be here as long this time, so really get the most out of this twist as you can. On your next inhale, come back to your crescent lunge. So to lean your way forwards, we're going to take a warrior three. Lift up. Keep reaching that left foot backwards. As gently as you can, step back, crescent lunge. Warrior two, open out. Flip your front palm reverse. Extended side angle, right forearm, right thigh, left fingertips reach. Take this wherever you want it to go this time. Maybe gaze is up. Lifting back, warrior two. Straighten your front leg. Tilt forwards, triangle. On an inhale, we lift up. Turn both feet to slightly pigeon toes to the left side, hands to hips. Inhale, open. Exhale, fold, release the hands down. Moving into your Skandasana towards the back of the mat, so bending that left knee. See if you can have your hands lifted. Really think about keeping the hips low towards the floor as you move into your Skandasana at the top of your mat. Nice. We're going to move back into our crescent lunge. Inhale to arrive. Exhale, hands to mat. Take a vinyasa or skip it out. Meet in a downward facing dog. Big toes to touch. Left leg lifts. Bend your knee, open up the hips. Really go for this one. Lift that left knee as high as you can. Straighten the leg back out behind you. Bring your knee to your nose. Inhale, we lift. Exhale, knee towards left armpits. Kick it back. Bring your left knee to your right armpits. Kick it back. Knee to nose, step it in between your hands, and on your inhale, you rise up, crescent lunge. Hands together, find that length in the spine, twist to your left. Really find that straight line from the back heel all the way to the crown of the head. Inhale, come back to center. As you exhale, you start to lean forwards. We're finding our warrior three. Lift the back leg. Reach the back heel backwards. Start to bend that left knee. Gently step it back, crescent lunge. Warrior two. Reverse. Extended side angle. Take it as far as you want to go. Don't forget about that back foot. Open the chest a little bit more. Rise back up, warrior two. Straighten the front leg, we're coming to our triangle, lean forwards, come back down. And even though we keep leaning into the front leg, you're thinking about that back leg. Inhale, rise back. Pigeon toe both feet towards the right side of your mat. Interlace the fingers behind you. Inhale, we open. Exhale, we fold forwards. Just staying here for a couple of moments, really reaching your fingertips, your fisted hands towards your head. Let go of the hands gently, don't let them ping apart. Maybe you bring your hands to the mat. Maybe you try without touching the floor as we bend that right knee. We're in our skandasana at the back of the mat. Breathe. Maybe you keep the hands lifted. Keep the hips low. Skandasana to the top of the mat. Again, maybe you choose, keep those hands lifted as we come into our crescent lunge. Big breath in. Exhale, hands to mat. Take a vinyasa, skip it, go to child's pose, whatever you need to do right now. If you've lost your breath, reconnect. Take any movement, any sigh you might need. Soften knees, gaze forwards, lightly jump to your hands. Halfway lift. Fold. You can choose if you stay in your fold, if that feels good in your hamstrings, or go for a crow pose. Hands flat to the floor in front of you. Bend through the knees. Lift the hips up. Make a little shelf for your knees, and you start to lean your weight forwards. See where you go today. Keep pressing the fingertips down. Keep breathing for another 3. For 2. For 1, if you have a shoot back, go ahead and shoot back. Take a vinyasa. We're going to meet everyone in a forward fold if that's where you stay. So if you're going to your vinyasa, make your way to down dog, walk, step, or float to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. And we meet everyone in their forward fold. On an inhale, roll yourself all the way up to standing. Take a little shake if you need to. Quite warm today. Not sure if it's me or if it's the calves. Let's bring both hands to hips. Ground both feet down. Then without using your hand to guide you, you're just going to transfer your weight into your left foot, lift your right knee. And having your hands on your hips, try not to let them tilt one way or the other. So the hips are stable, the knee lifts. Breathing here. Start to straighten that right leg. Flex the toes back towards you. Try not to lean backwards here. So don't worry if your foot is just a couple of inches off the floor. That's a great place to be. Bend the right knee. Lift it a little bit higher this time. Notice which muscles this is firing up. Maybe those hip flexors on the right side. And again, we're going to straighten that right leg. See if you can lift it just a centimeter higher. This time, keep that leg lifted and keep it as straight as you can as you slowly let it pass your left foot without touching the floor and come all the way back into your warrior 3. Release your hands to reach back. Try and have your hips square to the floor here. So it's really tempting to start opening that right hip up. But really think about having both hips square. Keep breathing, keep opening through the chest. Moving slowly, you're going to come into your standing split. So let the fingertips come towards the floor. Keep that right leg lifted. You can choose here if you stay on fingertips. Maybe you can place your flat palms on the floor. Or maybe you grab your standing ankle with one or both hands. Whatever's going on for you, you are breathing deeply. From here, keeping that right leg lifted, moving slowly, you're going to lift back into your warrior three. Try not to let the right foot drop. Listen carefully. Once you've found your balance, start to bend slightly through the left knee. Come all the way up. Eagle pose. Right leg over left. Right arm under left. Try and have your elbows at least in line with your shoulders. Squeeze the thighs together as you sink your hips low. Keep breathing. And we release, let go. Maybe you need to shake that standing foot out. We were on it for a little while. And let's do all of that on the other side. So both hands to hips. Really ground down with both feet. Find your base. Think about the pelvis being neutral. Muscles in the legs are engaged. Transfer your weight into your right foot to lift your left knee up. Again, notice if there's any tilt or movement in the hips. And maybe you start again. So really slowly with control, having the movement just in this leg. Focus your gaze, especially if you feel a little bit wobbly today. And then let's straighten that left leg. Keep thinking about pressing the right foot down and lifting the crown of the head. So even though the work is going on in this left leg, we're still stable in our body. Let's bend that left knee. See if we can lift it a little bit higher, keeping the hips exactly where they are. And then we're going to straighten that left leg again. Maybe it's starting to get a little bit shaky, a little bit hot. It definitely is for me. Maybe try and lift that left foot just an inch higher, last few breaths. And then again, keeping that left leg straight with control, let it go back. So it just passes your right leg, it doesn't touch the floor. And then you lift it all the way back behind you, coming to your warrior three. Reach the fingertips back, so you're really open through the chest, almost like a cobra. And then awareness here on that left hip. Notice if it starts opening. That happens a lot in your warrior three. Trying to keep both hips square to the floor. Standing splits, fingertips come to the floor. Keep that left leg lifted. Choose if you stay on fingertips. Maybe you can reach to flat palms. Maybe you want to keep working on your balance by grabbing that right ankle with one or both hands. Can you lift your left leg a little bit higher? Bring your awareness to your core muscles and think about squeezing them all the way in towards your spine as you lift up to your warrior three. Eagle pose. Left leg over, left arm under. Take your time. If you fall or wobble, just make your way back into the pose. Notice if you've lost your breath or you're getting a little bit serious in the face. Sink a little bit lower, last couple of breaths. And we release, let it go again. Shake it out. It's quite a lot in that standing foot, that standing leg. And actually maybe let's just do this for a couple of breaths. So feet hip width apart. And then inhale, we lift up onto tippy toes. Exhale, slowly lower down. Let's just do two more of those. So inhale, lift up. Really squeeze the calves. Exhale, slowly sink back. Last one, lifting up on the inhale. How high can you come right up onto the tippy toes? And exhale, release. We've done quite a lot in our feet today. One more exercise with the feet. Look down at your toes. See if you can lift your 10 toes. Spread them as wide as you can. And then see if you can lower them back down onto the mat, one toe at a time. So you can either go from baby toe to big toe or big toe to baby toe. Notice how weird it is, and you probably can't control it that well. Let's do it again. Lift the 10 toes. Spread them as wide as you can. And then one toe at a time, try your hardest to lower them back down one at a time. I'm not very good at it, so don't worry if you can't do it. We're going to step to the top of the mat. Inhale, reach up, two. Exhale, we fold forwards. Lift halfway. High plank. Pausing in your high plank. Again, coming back to that space in between the shoulder blades, really pressing it up. Downward facing dog. Soften your knees, gaze in between your hands as lightly as you can, jump to your hands. Lift halfway. Fold forwards. Bring your big toes together to touch for a chair pose. We won't be here long, don't worry. And start to lower your hips down. Keep breathing as you go. Now we're going to bring our hips all the way onto the mat, boat pose. Breathe here. Place your feet back on the floor without touching the floor, chair pose. Nice, don't worry if it didn't work. If you're still on the floor, you can stay there because we're coming back down. Slowly lower back down. And we're going to find our boat pose. If you stayed in your boat pose or stayed in the floor, we'll all be there. Make sure you're right on your seat bones so you're not wobbling around like I am. Relax your shoulders. You can have your hands holding your thighs or you can open them up. Options to stay here or maybe grab your big toes. If you've got hold of your big toes, really find a good balance, good position on your seat bones so you're not feeling like you're going to roll onto your back, which I may do as we do this. And then start to straighten your legs. You might feel wobbly, you might feel shaky. Really think about lifting the chest towards your shins. If you've rolled all the way backwards, don't worry, it happens a lot. Just make your way back into the pose. Another option, so you're either in your boat pose, you've got your legs straight, holding onto your toes. Final option is to let go of your toes and stay upright. For another 3, for 2, for 1, place both feet on the floor, hands come to knees, let your forehead rest on the back of your hands. We've worked our hip flexors quite a lot today, so don't worry if you were feeling that quite a bit. Keeping the feet flat to the floor, hands out in front, we're going to slowly start to lower all the way down. I'm not going to make you lift back up this week, so take your time. And once you make your way all the way down, have your feet hip width apart. Make sure you can just brush your heels with your fingertips so your heels aren't too far away. Press the feet down and then lift the hips up. So we're not going for the highest pose we can find today. We're looking for engagement. So not flaring the rib cage, keeping that tucked in. And think about this sort of whole center of your body being really, they're squeezing in, so everything's squeezing in towards your center line, even with the thighs. So without moving them, imagine squeezing them towards each other. And maybe with that engagement, you do just naturally lift a little bit higher without flaring through the ribcage. Maybe you walk your shoulder blades a little bit further towards each other. And then really focus on your breath here. Slowly roll your spine back along the mat. Sway your knees from side to side. We're going to take one more back bend today. You can choose if you want to go for another bridge, lift up. Otherwise, if you want wheel pose, hands come to next to your ears and you press both feet and hands down and you just lift up. Wherever you are pressing the earth away to lift a little bit higher. Keep breathing. Staying for another 5. For 4, 3, 2, 1. If you're in wheel, tuck your chin towards your chest, nice and slowly, everyone rolling back along the mat. Take Supta Baddha Konasana, soles of the feet to touch, knees open wide. One hand to your heart, one hand to your stomach. Take a few breaths, notice how your body is feeling now. Maybe you feel the beating of your heart beneath your hand. Let everything slow back down. Bring your knees together to touch and hug them in towards your chest. Give yourself a nice big squeeze. Maybe a rock side to side, massaging the lower back. And then you're going to place your hands either on the outside of your hips or actually underneath your hips to tilt your pelvis up. And you're going to lift your legs straight up towards the ceiling. If you need a little bend in the knees, go ahead and keep it. Otherwise, finding a good spot. Keep the head and shoulders relaxed on the mat. And then we're going to take sort of like kicking feet, as if you were in a swimming pool. So back and forth with the feet, little kicks. And as you take these little kicks, you're going to lower your feet slowly down towards the floor. Keep breathing as you go. And then when you get to about 2 inches off the floor, you're going to slowly lift back up. When you reach the top, you're going to slowly start to lower back down. Notice what's happening with your face. If you're starting to clench your jaw, lift your shoulders, stay with it. Again, just before you touch the floor, lift back up. I think we might have one more round in us. When you reach the top, slowly lower down. Keep it controlled. Keep breathing. Just before your feet touch the floor, lifting all the way back up. And when you reach the top, let go, hug your knees in towards your chest, give yourself another squeeze. We're going to straighten our legs out on the mat, so you're flat on the floor now. Interlace your fingers underneath your head and lift your head and shoulders up off the mat. So we've just worked into our lower core. You'll probably feel it a little bit lower, sort of in the center around your tummy button. Now we're going to work a little bit into our upper core. So we're going to take big, big circles with our head. Nice and slowly though. So not using the momentum from the circles, but we're using the strength that we have. Keep breathing as you go. Again, notice what's happening with your breath. Notice what's happening with your face. And let's take 2 more in this direction. And then changing directions. So I'm sure all of you are starting to feel this one. If you're not, then I don't know what to say. But just breathing into whatever sensations are coming up for you, whether that's tension, whether that's heat, whether that's thoughts in your mind of wanting to stop or thinking you can't carry on. Just stay with it. Last few breaths here. And gently release your head back onto the floor. Notice what's going on. Notice what sensations you're feeling. And then let's hug the knees in towards the chest once more, but this time take a happy baby. Grab the outer edges of your feet. Pull your knees in towards your armpits. It might feel nice to sway side to side, or it might feel nice to stay in stillness. Some of you might have the access in your hips and your hamstrings to straighten one leg at a time. So do whatever you need to do to really feel something in this pose. And letting go of both feet so they're flat on the floor. And let's do thread the needle, right ankle over left thigh. Either grabbing the underneath of the left thigh or the outer edge of that left shin. And pull the left knee in towards you. You might need to shuffle around here with the hips, sort of tilting them one way or the other to really feel a sensation through that right hip, that right glute. So even when we come into these slightly longer held poses towards the end of the class as we stretch everything out, don't feel like you need to stay in complete stillness. So if you feel you want to shift somewhere or slightly change the pose, please feel free. I'm going to let go of this side and come straight onto the other side. So left ankle over right thigh. Again, choose if it feels better to grab the underneath of that right thigh or the outer edge of the right shin. And noticing if you need to move the hips slightly or tilt one way or the other to really feel the stretch, feel the sensation that we're looking for. Always just guiding your awareness back to breathing Ujjayi breath. We're going to let go of this side. I'm going to take a shoulder stand today. If you want to go for a headstand, please do. We're not going to be there for that long, so if you're confident you can get straight up, go ahead. Otherwise, if you want something restorative, you can place your feet against the wall, or you're coming with me into a flower pose, kicking your feet over your head. So if you can have the toes touching the floor behind you, do. If you need to bend your knees, also do. Hands to lower back, and really take a lot of weight in those hands so the upper arm bones are pressing down into the floor. And then we'll lift our feet up. So really pressing down with the upper arm bones as you lift the feet up as high as you can. You can choose to stay in stillness here, or maybe you want to play with moving your feet around, taking any variation, maybe even going for an eagle leg, wrapping one leg over the other, see how that feels. Playing with your balance, your core, but not going anywhere that puts pressure on the neck. If you are in headstand, make your way to a child's pose. If you are with me in a shoulder stand, bend your knees and bring them down towards your forehead or your ears. Just pausing here for a moment in your deaf or blind man's pose. If you are with me, maybe reach your hands out along the mat. And maybe if you need to, use them as brakes. So we're going to roll out of the pose nice and slowly. Use your core muscles and try not to crash land out of this. So it's really easy to just release and sort of land flat on your back, but see how slowly you can move. We've warmed our core muscles up quite a lot today, so you should be ready and engaged to help you come out of the pose. When everyone is ready, there is absolutely no rush here. We're going to meet on our backs, and we're going to take a fish pose. So hands come underneath your seat bones, and you lift up onto your forearms, and then think about reaching your chest up towards the ceiling, and let the crown of the head touch the floor. So if your hair is in the way, then see if you can move it out of the way. So you want the crown of the head actually connected with the floor. Keep opening the chest towards the ceiling. And we're going to take a lion's breath from here. So in through the nose, and then as you exhale, open the mouth, stick the tongue out. Let's do that again. Big breath in. Open your mouth, stick your tongue out. Gently, gently untuck your chin. Release your head back onto the mat. Remove your hands. Let's go right knee in towards our chest. Give it a nice big squeeze. Let your right knee fall towards the left. Right arm opens towards the right. Gazes towards the right for your supine twist. Trying to keep both shoulders relaxed on the mat. You might feel a little bit more restrictive, breathing deeply here, but do your best to find that full body Ujjayi breath. Coming back through center. And swap sides. Hug your left knee in, give it a nice big squeeze. Let your left knee fall towards the right. You might need to shift your hips towards the left slightly if you want to deepen. Open the left arm out, gaze is also towards the left. Come back to center, hug both knees in towards your chest. Lift your forehead up towards your knees and scrunch up your toes here. Pull your knees in towards you, scrunch up your fingers, bring your shoulders up towards your ears. Make everything as tense as it can possibly be. Take an inhale through the nose. Exhale out through the mouth as you let go. Release. Let's do that one once more. Hug both knees in towards your chest. Forehead lift towards your knees, scrunch up your fingers, your toes, your shoulders, your face. Make everything as tense as it can be. Take an inhale through the nose and hold it at the top. Exhale out through the mouth, let go. Come to lying flat on your back. Let your legs fall, your feet fall open, palms face the ceiling. If it's comfortable, close your eyes. Coming into your final rest. Shavasana. Start to deepen your breath. Bring some movement to your fingers and your toes. Reach your arms up overhead, take a full body stretch. Waking yourself back up for your day ahead. Roll onto your right side into a fetal position. Pausing there. And with as little effort as possible, make your way up to a seated position, hands together at heart center and your eyes closed. Taking a moment to close your practice this morning by bringing to mind someone or something that you're grateful for. And with that thought of gratitude in your mind, lift your thumb knuckles up to your forehead center. And together we bow forwards and say, Namaste. Thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed the class. As always, let me know any feedback, any questions or requests for next week. I'm back live tomorrow lunchtime. Otherwise, I hope you have a wonderful Sunday. Thank you.